Hello everyone, this is Ep29, and welcome to episode 29 of Ep29's Dyson Sphere Let's Play series, where today I've amped up my iron production, because holy cow, the motors need a lot of iron. So as you can see, both iron producers that I have now, because I've got an extra one, basically what I did is I took my iron makers that I had, and I made them Mark II smelters for both iron and magnets. And that wasn't enough. So I got another logistics station where I'm importing iron ore, and we're smelting iron and magnets for them. All of this is supporting a very massive effort to produce more and more of this stuff, which we set up last episode. So as you can see, we've got a healthy amount at this point of motors and turbines, and we've got our super magnetic rings going, so things are actually smoothly running. We're pretty close to backstuffing everything, and then once that happens, everything should settle down. The other thing I want to call out is on the top left, my research. I'm kicking off solar sail research. When we first, I should have done this earlier, and I just kind of forgot about it. When we first launched solar sails, we mentioned that solar sails only live up there in space for a little while. And they eventually disintegrate, right? They eventually, get destroyed. So solar cell life will give them longer life to live up there. I went ahead and placed some ray receivers up on my north pole, which is in addition to the ones that I have on the south pole. Pretty sure I have that angling right. I think this is north. Pretty sure this is north. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, long story short, by researching solar sail life, hopefully we will, in essence, generate more power by virtue of the fact that the solar sails will live longer when they're solar sails. Now, I think in today's episode, I'd like to start looking at the Dyson Sphere process and getting that up and running. So let's go see where we're at with that, because we kind of started working on the Dyson Sphere stuff and then realized we are not really as ready as I had hoped to be. So what we wound up doing is, stuffing things. Oh, I'm doing okay-ish, actually, on processors. That's kind of nice. Hooray, Solar Sail Life 2. They live longer now. And everybody's happy. Oh, I have extra blues down here. Sweet, I didn't realize I had done that. Smart Dyer is smart. Yay. So you guys are actually doing a nice job of slowly but surely producing blue circuits for me, quantum chips. I suspect I'm going to need a lot more of these. But that shouldn't be too big of a deal, right? Because we can just badoop and... yeah. See how terrible I am on Tier 1 resources? I've done such a bad job. But we'll get there. So anyway, that's what I've been playing with for the last bit of time. Wow, I have no gears or circuits. I gotta go replenish all my Tier 1 resources. That's what I've got to do. That's effectively what I've got to do. But once I get these 8 of these guys crafted, then we can leave this area, and that'll just give us more blue chip production, because we're not bad on blue chips, but we're probably going to be bad on blue chips sooner than later. So it doesn't hurt to amp up the production line right now in anticipation for that happening. Is good? Actually, I'd upgraded you, didn't I? Now you're good. Okay, so up here in the northern part of the planet, I believe, is where I had set up Dyson Sphere components cooking. Yeah, nice. All right, cool. So in order to get this running again, we're going to need our deuterium fuel rods to be running once again. So we've got some carrier rockets ready to get launched into space. We need to rehook up our deuterium fuel rods, which, unfortunately, by virtue of the fact that we've done a ridiculous amount of stuff here, I had to amp up my fusion power plant production. So we have a little bit of a problem. And that is mostly... Are you a Mark II bell? You are. Let's reconnect you so that we have deuterium fuel rods cooking. I suspect we're going to be hurting on deuterium sooner than later. probably the case. Deuterium's looking like it's getting a little bit low. So I might want to do something about that. Hooray, more solar sail life. This will just hopefully help with my power situation a little bit. Because the solar sails will all launch into space, they will last longer, and by virtue of them lasting longer, we will have more in there at a time, and potentially being okay. But wow, look at my power production situation. It's just not great. It is not a great situation that we find ourselves in. But I think that will mostly be resolved once this thing backstuffs, which is actually getting pretty close to happening. It's getting surprisingly close to happening. Once everything backstuffs over here, I think my power production problems will not go away, but be mitigated by virtue of the fact that not everything's going to be running as crazy it is. Because look how much stuff over here is running just to try and keep up the demand of all the stuff that we need to do. It's a little bananas. It's a little bananas. I'm going to backstuff this so I can get more magnets going, and that should get the electromagnetic turbines cooking faster. So yeah, deuterium amp up, and then I want to start looking at, you know, some more stuff. So what if we were to copy and paste this setup? Could we potentially do that? I don't see why not. And just put it right here-ish? I think so. Yes? Maybe here? Collide with another object. What's colliding with another object? Is it you? Are you the object being collided with? You know what I'm going to do is I'm only going to copy and paste these guys, and I'm going to remove this. Should I save this as deuterium veins? I'm thinking yes. I could remove you, and I could remove you. And I could probably remove you. Because we should be cool now. That doesn't really run too well. What I should do is move you guys internal to the belts here. You guys shouldn't be on the outside line. I didn't mean to do that. That was a big mistake. Now you guys were doing what? You're running this way. That's fixed, right? Okay, cool. Okay, that feels better to me. I wanna have this be replicatable. So if we can make that nice and easy. That would be cool. That looks good, right? And then can you live like that? Actually, you could be moved. Yeah, you're fine. The whole goal here is having a really replicatable kind of setup. That looks good. So I want to save this blueprint. Deuterium. And your icon will be the deuterium buildings. Cool. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20 deuterium fractionators. Well, I can have 2. Yeah, I just need to get more bricks and whatnot. I'll be right back. I love blueprints. They are the best. And maybe we'll upgrade you guys to Mark III. Yeah, solar sail. Nice. Beautiful. Okay, how's that look? Pretty good? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a new hydrogen dude out here. And that should be cool. So then what should happen is you guys should all start hydrogening into deuterium. Yes, is good. I like that. And then this guy, I think, will still be configured with the bottom port being the priority, so that any hydrogen that comes back will immediately be sent back into the fractionators. That looks pretty good to me. I like that a lot, actually. I really do. That's a very copy-pastable setup right there. And as we get more and more into stuff, we're going to want more and more copy-pastable setups. And then I guess the point now is, are we net gaining or not? I mean, first off, I should probably have you guys being as fast as possible. We're going to need all the things. Alright. At least upgradable now. So hopefully you guys will sufficiently, for now, produce enough deuterium fuel rods. And then the plan being that eventually we might need to speed that up. Definitely. That's going to be an amp-up thing. But let's get our Dyson sphere going today, because it's about time. So here's my high-level plan. Let's get Dyson sphere components launched so that we can really start generating power strictly from the sun. Then we can remove these things and eventually replace them with more deuterium manufacturers. Does that sound cool? And it looks like we have a little bit more fluid than we had earlier, so I think we have a slight net gain on fluid, which I'm happy with. Now, I only just recently upgraded the thing, so that may or may not be a problem. I guess we'll find out. Now then, let's look at... Where did I place that? Here they are, these guys, right? Yeah, carrier rockets. Booyah. It's time. It's time to do the carrier rocket thing. So let's get ready to launch our Dyson spheres. First step in launching a Dyson sphere is having vertical launching silos. And as you can see, I can make a few of them. I've already got 2. I'm going to have 5. I think 5 is a good number because that's how many I have resources for on my character at this exact moment. That's the only reason I'm doing 5. I don't have another reason. The other reason I'm doing 5 is that I will eventually want more than that, for sure. But we'll get there, okay? So let's get ready. I think, to be honest with you, it might not be a bad... Well, I'm probably going to want to expand this downwards, right? So maybe down here-ish is a nice place to have my launch silos going. I'm going to cover up all this stuff here. And more. Launch silos are some of the biggest buildings in the game, I think. So what I'll probably just have is very simply a carrier dude here, just, you know, doing his thing. That should be fine. Get you up and running with power. Get you set up with a few of these. You're not going to need a lot, because the only thing you're going to do is bring in carrier rockets. Now, unlike the solar sails, they don't need line of sight to the sun directly in order to launch. So that makes life pretty easy. You know, let's keep 1,000 in stock here with a remote demand. So you're going to go get what 240-ish you've got available to you. Now this guy's obviously making more, and that's great. We're choking on deuterium fuel rods a little bit, but life will go on. They don't need line of sight to the sun, which is good news. And so what we're going to have here is effectively...
You have built a vertical launching silo.
Hey, buddy.
Now you can use it to construct the main structure of the Dyson sphere. But before that, you need to enter the Dyson sphere panel to finish planning the Dyson sphere nodes and frames. After the plan is completed, the vertical launching silo will automatically launch small carrier rockets loaded with Dyson sphere components to build the nodes and frames. Each rocket provides 1 structure point, and you can use the vertical launching silo panel to master the required structure points.
Does that sound cool? So I'm going to explain to you guys how all this works in just a moment. Oh, that's right. You guys do not feed directly in. I hate that about you. I want you to know that. I forgot that you don't feed directly in, and that is just the worst. Now, how come you seem like you're aligned correctly? It's because of the angle of the planet, isn't it? I don't think you can feed directly into the side either, right? Yeah. So this is like a pet peeve of mine about these guys, but you have to feed them in with sorters. It's not the end of the world, but it's still annoying. Come on. Not what I meant to do again. Okay. Now, Tier 1 sorters is fine because these things launch pretty slowly. So you don't have to go too crazy on them. Cool. So they will slowly but surely fill up. And you'll see that they're giving you like the "there's something wrong" message on them. And the reason you're getting that is because you haven't configured your Dyson sphere yet. Just like we set up the swarms, we also have to set up the sphere. Lucky for us, setting up the Dyson sphere is pretty easy. We're going to open up our Dyson sphere panel, and now, in addition to the Dyson swarm orbits that we could configure, we're going to set up Dyson shells. Now, you can build your Dyson sphere however you want. It's really quite simple. The most basic shell is going to be a sphere. So if you want just a sphere around it, that's totally fine. And what we can see here, did this give me a default shell now? Is that how it works, or no? It should give me, let's see. So you can do something like that, which would be kind of like a soccer ball-ish type shape. You can do, let's see. You can really do whatever you want, right? Like you could like spell out words. You could have like a square. I think you could do a square. There's a lot of different things you could do. I'm gonna go with a basic sphere because you know Dyer and his art skills. You can also have multiple orbits or layers. So if you wanted to like add a new layer out here, you could have it like bigger. So you can adjust the radius. You can adjust the inclination. Not that I think that makes too much of a difference, but kind of-ish. You can do the latitude and longitude. It's all cool stuff. I'm going to start with a basic sphere, right? Just to get around the sun here. And what you'll notice is there's basically a very thin green line around our sun. That's where you can currently build. We can unlock with research the ability to build higher. So if we had a Dyson sphere stress system, which is a pretty expensive recipe, right? 2,000 of each cube up to white. Dyson sphere node latitude limit plus 15 degrees. It basically increases the area that you can build your Dyson sphere around. So for now, we can only build in the green line, which is nothing too exciting. But once we get that research, we can build more. Cool? So let's start by building and show you guys how to do that. So step one is we need to place down some nodes. And when you select your node, it's going to show you where you can place the nodes. I like to put them at the grid lines, like the major ones. So I can put one node here, and you'll notice latitude too high, upgrade stress system. So you can't, do anything more than that. So I'm going to put another one here, and then I'm going to have like that or this. I don't know if it makes too much of a difference if you're just doing straight lines. I always forget, like, what have I done in the past? I don't really know. But I think I can do something like that. Would that look cool? I think so. Oh, are we already launching? We might already be launching. Oh, we're already launching. Okay, cool. Well, that's what we're doing now. So here goes our launch silos. Hello, friends. And let's go check it out. So we'll see what this looks like, and I'll explain some more details of how things work in a minute. So I'm going to fly over to the sun, where my rockets are already headed, which is cool. And what we should find is we are now actively building a Dyson sphere. which is super cool. So we can see the sphere starting to be built. Now, how slow can I go at sail speed here? Not too shabby. Look at that. So the rockets actually wind up being launched and fly into these nodes that we created. And once the nodes are fully built, it'll start building the connections between the nodes. So what I set up is, and we can even see, there goes the rockets, they're flying in. How cool is that? And the nodes are being expanded now. See them getting bigger? Right? So what I've set up is 2 nodes, and they are, and you can see the structure points and the cell points and all this stuff that will give you some information. And also the power generation that happens from these guys, right? So structure points, the first number is how much are currently there. The second number is how many are en route. And the third number is how many in total are needed. So each one of these structure points needs 80 rockets to fly up, right? And this guy, and I think that includes the connections in the middle. So I think we will see this thing start to get its connection points soon. Where's the other side of it? There it is. Cool. So as more and more rockets make their way up here, we will see this structure point get larger and larger. Aha! And our first little connection into the middle has started. Nice. Okay. So what we see here is we can see on the view here, on the Dyson sphere view, we can see this little thing has started to show up. This guy's at 38 out of 80, so he's getting close to halfway there, and this guy's at 16 out of 80. So obviously the one on the left here is kind of being prioritized by our rockets. And you can see all my solar sails in orbit as well. How cool is that? All right. So it's being built up. Sweet. Now, at this point, there's a couple things we're going to need to do. Number one, we're going to obviously have to ramp up rocket production because we're going to want a lot more rockets. And number two, we're going to want to ramp up the production of the launch pads so that we can launch Dyson sphere components faster. Because as you can imagine, these 2 little structure points that I just placed are a very, 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 very small component of the Dyson sphere. We have a lot more work to do to get them up and running. But don't worry, we're going to be amping up all the things pretty soon. So actually, we're doing a really nice job. Now, you can delete these nodes, and I think if you delete them, it voids the rockets. So obviously, we're going to want to be a little bit careful about that. I guess we're just going to have to see what happens. I forget the difference between this one and this one. This looks straight and this looks curved, but, like, it's a sphere. So, like, it kind of has to be curved, right? I guess. Like, it looks curved to me, like it's curving around. I guess we'll see. Maybe when it goes up and down, there's a difference. I kind of forget, if I'm being honest with you. It's been a while since I messed with this too much. And then there's this thing, the shell plan, which I'll talk to you guys about in a bit. That we can't do yet until we get higher latitudes. But basically what's going to happen is we're going to want to build... Let's see if I can kick off the research for that. Let's do that. Let's kick it off. We should have enough to do the research, right? We'll get the first tier of Dyson sphere researching done, just to allow us to go higher. That should be cool. And you can see the rockets coming from our planet when we're in this view. You can also see them in the solar system view. You can see rockets, you know, launching off and heading in towards the Dyson sphere components. Look at them. Here they come. So even in the solar system view or in the Dyson sphere view, you can see what's happening. And it's going to slowly but surely build the thing out. Now, only slowly but surely by virtue of the fact that we only have 6 rocket launch pads, but, you know, we'll get there. So this guy's actually almost done. So what you'll notice is, basically speaking, when rockets fly into this thing, it's going to expand out about halfway, and then it's done, right? So we've got 6 more coming, and then it'll be complete. And then the remaining rockets will all head towards this guy. Those 6 are what's en route already. So there's already 6 of them coming up here, right? So now we should be at 78.2, I want to say. Yep. And then there should be 2 more rockets on their way, and the remaining rockets will all head into this guy. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now we're going to have 80, 0, 80, which means the structure is complete. Okay? So this leftmost structure is complete. No more rockets will go into him at this point. That will change in a few minutes once I unlock the next tier of stuff. Cool. And now all the remaining rockets will go into there. And once these structure points are completed, the rockets will be done launching. Now, unlike solar sails, the Dyson sphere components will never degrade. So these things last forever. And they're going to stay here forever, and that's awesome. Cool. Nice. All right, so I think the last handful of rockets are all flying in here. And what should happen is once this guy hits, 80, which, is happening right now-ish, we should have 4 more rockets on their way. Is that them? That might be them. Here they are. Hello, rockets. It's going to finish that node. He's now complete. And the connections between the two are complete. And we've got our very first, most basic form of a Dyson sphere. Awesome. Awesome. Our first connection points are complete. That is super cool. So now those numbers are done. So it's 80, 0, 80. We currently have 80. There are 0 en route. And we need a total of 80. Everything makes sense. I will tell you what cell points are about in a minute. Don't worry. And the frame maintains, I guess, one of these node things. I guess that's what that 1 means. Power generation in total here is 15.6 megawatts. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Right? Pretty good amount of power coming in as a result of that. So what I'd like to do now is head back to our main planet. There's not enough what? Oh, I don't have enough space warpers equipped? Oh, hey, look! There was an update to the game, and now the mecha has all kinds of new stuff. I forgot. That's a thing. Let's warp home. Huzzah! Yeah, I think you can change your mecha's color now, and a few cool things about him. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. You can, like, super duper alter colors. There's lots of color modifications you can do. Alright. Neato. But not yet. Not yet. Dyer has things he's got going on. Right? So if we check out our rocket launch pads now, we will find... number one, these guys draw a lot of power, by the way. That should be a surprise to no one. A lot of power. But how's our overall power system doing? Actually, we're at 90-something% satisfaction, which tells me, I bet, that all my stuff kind of stabilized finally. I think might be the case. That would be exciting news. Are you guys? You guys are all full. Look at that. That's why. That's why. We've done a good job of satisfying all the things, and I assume that you guys are all stuffed now. Yeah, you guys are good. 5,000 of everything are there. Nice. And then I also want to check in on the northern parts up here. How are you guys doing? Not bad. So your max output is 15. Your current output is 4. So that tells me that we have way more of these ray receivers than we need. Right? Show the current total requested power and the total generational performance. 157. Yeah, it makes about some semblance of sense. Yeah. When you factor in, yeah, so we are requesting a lot more power from our ray receivers than our Dyson sphere structure can handle. So that means we want to launch a lot more rockets. Now, I'm about to finish that research I was telling you about. Right? Dyson sphere stress system, level 1 complete. Now that I've done that, and I'm going to kick off another one, I think. Well, maybe not. Now if we look at our cell structure, we can see that we have a lot larger of an area that we can cover. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically take each of these squares that exist, and I'm going to build on them, right? This is a nice kind of pattern that you can follow. If you wanted to follow another pattern like this one, you could. If you wanted to make your own pattern, you could. If I wanted to spell out DW20 up here, I could. You can build it however you want, right? So I'm going to place another structure here and here, right? And just by virtue of me doing that, I'm going to assume that our rockets are going to start launching, and that would be cool. Now, if we look at that, those structures alone need 30 things in them, right? So, just the structures themselves need about 30 rockets to fill them up, but then we want to add the connections between them, okay? So we can see our rocket dudes launching, which is cool. And you guys are, yeah, see, look how much stress the power is. Yeah, they need a lot of power to launch. A lot of power. But let's come in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify layer 1. Now, if I have a straight line here versus a curved line, I don't know how much the difference it makes. I think I'm just going to do the straight line and see how that works out. So what I want to do is create a square. Right? And now what's going to happen is these guys need to get a few more things. You can see how many frames it maintains. So in total, we need a lot more rockets to fly up there, right? And they're going to fill in much the same way that this one did. So as the rockets show up in space, it's going to start expanding and filling in all these lines. Now, there's a very good reason that we want to make a square here, and if you've never played this game or don't know much about it, you will probably be finding out next episode. Because once we fill that square in, that's when the fun begins. So here's my plan. I'm going to probably, I think, wrap up the episode here. Are we right about the wrapping up point? Let me check. Because I think we are. Yeah, we're right at the wrapping up point. So what I'm going to do is wrap up the episode here. We will come back next episode, and my hope is that all my rockets will have filled in. We've got a lot more rockets to make, obviously, because we need a hefty amount right now. If we look at the math here on this, like we need this guy down here needs another 50 plus another 50-ish, so another 100 here combined, and these guys each need a couple, like 2 more 100-ish. So we have a lot of rockets to make. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's just going to take a minute. But we'll wait. And when I come back next episode, hopefully that will have been accomplished. Deal? What I might do to kind of help this along is I might snag... Where's my deuterium set up? I think it's up here-ish. Yeah. I might snag... First off, let's check in on the actual deuterium amount. Are we okay? We are not okay. We are not producing enough deuterium. Upgrading these to Mark III assembly machines was not awesome for us. Not awesome. So we're going to definitely need to amp up our deuterium production. Something I might do in the near future. How's hydrogen though? Hydrogen's fine. So far. So far, hydrogen's fine. So I'm okay with that. I might fill in this area over here and have another deuterium set up over on the right. But we'll see. I'll set some of that up between episodes. And we'll come back next time. I might... Well, what I definitely want to do is snag some of you guys so that we have plenty of fuel going on in here. Cool. I'm going to put this away. Sort this guy. And we're going to wrap up the episode here. So when we come back next episode, I will hopefully have that Dyson sphere system done, right? At least this part of it. You can see it's making progress, right? Definitely making progress. We're going to need to start really amping up our resource production. If you thought I've been going crazy lately, wait till you see what comes next, because we need a ton more resources. But once this is up and running, we should have a hefty amount of power coming in, and that should solve our power problems for a short period of time. And then it's just ramp up production, run into power problems, launch more Dyson spheres, solve power problems, and repeat. There's going to be some more research that definitely needs to happen. We need planetary ionosphere, which allows us to consume graviton lenses to increase the max output power of those things that I have at the poles, the ray receivers. But since we're not maxing them out just yet, we don't need this just yet, but very soon we will, because Dyson spheres generate way more power than Dyson swarms. Right? And then shortly we'll be able to convert that power into some antimatter and do some really neat, cool stuff. Cool? So for now, Ep29 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time for more. For now, take it easy.